sparks protests all across the globe, and as 680's James Mackin reports, the call for action has now led to the local police department in Minneapolis being scrapped.
9 out of 12 councilors have voted in favor of dismantling the city's police department, saying it's impossible to reform it in its current state. Councilor Jeremiah Ellison announced the news on Sunday, promising the city will dismantle the department. This follows protests that have taken place all over the world, sparked by the death of George Floyd, the 46-year-old black man who died in Minneapolis police custody. Floyd died when former police officer Derek Chauvin knelt on his neck for several minutes.
Not a young man either.
Minneapolis City Council voted to prohibit neck restraints.
At that age, he's already dedicated everything he's doing to family at that point. Yeah, me, I'm
public
far
safety.
from him, but I'm
No
gonna
word
fuck
yet if
with
any
no
other cities
family.
will be
I'll
voting on
fucking get
dismantling
down
their
with
police
you,
departments. I'm James
Throw your
Mackin.
brains all over their shoulders.
Friends and family in the world are preparing to say goodbye to George Floyd in a final funeral service and burial planned in Houston. A successful viewing for Floyd is planned for today. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden is expected to attend today's viewing and meet with Floyd's family. Funeral services and the burial is set to take place tomorrow in a suburban Pearland. The Floyd will be laid to rest next to his mother. In the U.S., more curfews are being lifted in the wake of peaceful protests, and now New York City's mayor is taking action in the wake of calls to defund the police. 680's Michelle Mackey reports.
After a weekend of peaceful protests, Chicago, Philadelphia, and New York City are no longer under curfews. Now, NYC Mayor Bill de Blasio is announcing a wave of police reforms, including shifting funding from the NYPD to
You niggas need to go home. No! Fine,
Services.
stay in the goddamn street. Fuck you, we're out of here.
Sure that the focus is on our young people.
The move comes as Officer Derek Chauvin is set to make his first court appearance Monday afternoon in Minnesota, charged with second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter in the death of George Floyd.
Despite that graphic video showing the former officer Chauvin on the neck of Floyd for nearly 9 minutes, Attorney General Keith Ellison says this won't be easy.
That's ABC's Zachary Quiche in Minneapolis, who says the potential sentences for the other 3 officers involved in Floyd's death depend on Chauvin's conviction. I'm Michelle Mackey.
And thousands marched for Black Lives in Mississauga on
Nobody's
Sunday.
nearly as worried about those 3 getting convicted. It's the one dude with the 8 years experience. And they just want all the cops forever to know, yeah, you could get shit if you don't fucking do something when you're supposed to.
Today, chant of Black Lives Matter rang out in Mississauga as thousands gathered to call for an end to anti-Black racism. It happened near Celebration Square. I spoke with NDP MPP and member of the Ontario Black Caucus, Kevin Yard, who was at the protest. He says protesters are calling for many things, like an end to carding and justice for Regis Korchinski-Paquette.
We're going to continue to push for justice and tackling systemic racism. And that requires change. That requires mobilizing, and we're going to continue to push for that. We've been seeing what's been happening in the United States, and it's no different. What's happening here in Canada. We are not immune to racism.
Yard says we also need to fight racism with proper legislation, and we need more de-escalation training in police services. He adds that we all need to speak out if we want to invoke meaningful change. I'm Seher Hashemi.
South of the border, U.S. President Donald Trump is ordering the National Guard to leave Washington, D.C. after massive protests against police brutality. Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy confirmed this in a Pentagon phone call briefing Sunday afternoon.
Looked at the trends, saw that it become very peaceful in nature, and started developing a plan for the withdrawal.
The protests ended with largely peaceful expressions that organizers hope will sustain their movement. Last week, Trump used the National Guard to clear a path for him through peaceful protesters so he could walk to a church across from the White House for a photo op. It was a move denounced by church leaders as insulting. Listening to Open Radio 680 News. Toronto police are investigating a shooting in Scarborough. Officers were called to the area of Port Union Road and Roselle Road near Lawson Road for reports of multiple gunshots heard in the area. When they arrived, they found evidence of gunfire and multiple shell casings on the ground. Police say witnesses told them, 2 dark-colored sedans were seen speeding away from the area southbound on Port Union, and investigators say more vehicles may be involved. There's been no reports of injuries, and Toronto police are advising the public to use caution in the area. There's also road closures to keep in mind of. Russell Road is closed from Port Union to Adams Park. Anyone with information is being asked to come forward. 680 News Time 2:08. The private company that runs Woodbridge Vista Care Community in Vaughan has announced that the Canadian Armed Forces is going to be deployed to help the long-term care home. A spokesperson for Woodbridge Vista Care says they're struggling to contain an active COVID-19 outbreak. York Region says there have been 22 deaths of residents at the home. The home has had 102 resident cases in all, including deaths, and 40 cases involving healthcare workers. 680 News Time 2:08. The global death toll from COVID-19 has now reached at least 400,000. Yet countries around the world have continued easing lockdown restrictions as many health experts warn the pandemic is far from over.
According to Johns Hopkins University, at least 6.9 million people have been infected with the virus, as the U.S. leads the way with nearly 110,000 confirmed virus-related deaths. Many countries like the U.S. and Britain insist that they can ease restrictions before having stalled their outbreaks. Infectious diseases consultant Dr. Sarah Logan says clear government communication is vital to stop new spikes from occurring.
The clarity of message has been really, really problematic from the UK government as well as most other governments around the world.
Britain's scientific advisors to the government are saying the pandemic is definitely not all over. Dr. Logan believes the virus may never go away.
It won't completely go away, probably ever.
Karen Shamas, London.
Meantime, New York City has lifted its curfew a day early and a day before it's set to reopen with phase 1 following their COVID-19 shutdown.
Mayor Bill de Blasio says after a largely peaceful Saturday night, the 8 p.m. curfew no longer seems necessary.
Honestly, I hope it's the last time we will ever need a curfew in New York City.
More than 2,000 people were arrested since the start, but the mayor is looking ahead, focused on healing, reopening, rebuilding.
This is a moment that every New Yorker should celebrate as our achievement together, your achievement, because you did the hard work to fight back the coronavirus so we could get to phase 1.
Phase 1 reopening for the city,
bunch of 8 million dirty, overcrowded fucking
wholesale
people.
and retail.
Yeah, shit. I'm gonna sit down. Fucking way to cheers face.
This is 680 News.
Now, the 680 News gas price update
See
is
what Dutch here
predicted.
does?
The price of gas didn't budge at
No
midnight. It's
style
only at
whatsoever. That's what it should
$1.09
look
a
like.
liter at most GTA stations. 680 News Time
Yeah, when I
2:10.
was younger, it'd be a bit more further down here. But it looked the fucking same, man.
Around you. SafetyMasks.ca is your one source for personal protective equipment, from safety masks to gloves, hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, and gowns. SafetyMasks.ca offers free shipping anywhere in Canada. Convenient daily protection packages are now available. Order from home at SafetyMasks.ca.
Qui est bien présente au Québec, qu'on a simplement un peu balayé sous le tapis. Et là, pour la première fois depuis longtemps, on m'a interpellé pour me demander, puis toi, en passant, comment tu vis ça? Puis je me suis dit, enfin, parce qu'une des choses que j'ai reproché longtemps aux médias dont je fais partie, c'est d'inviter souvent des gens qui viennent du même profil démographique pour discuter de situations d'injustice qui ne les concernent pas directement, que ce soit la situation des Autochtones, des femmes, de la communauté LGBTQ, de la communauté noire, de toutes les minorités visibles, des
Pourquoi il dit noir et autochtone?
Jamais parler de ces gens-là.
Shut down northbound Nielsen, northbound Harbor Road ramps onto the highway closed. No access to McAllen. Ramps to and from southbound Allen are closed, and northbound Dufferin, there is no access to the westbound 401. No access to the southbound 400 from westbound Finch. No access to the southbound 404 from westbound.
I have no idea who the Allen is named after.
Northbound on the 427 transferring to the express at Dundas shut down. Eastbound westbound Finch ramps to the highway closed. No access to the 407.
Who the fuck is Allen?
Southbound 427 ramp to the eastbound 407 closed.
I know Al. He don't deserve a fucking road
closure, rather affecting the southbound 410. No access onto the highway from both eastbound and westbound Courtney Park Drive. Next report is at 2:21 with forecast.
No, we're gonna cover this area up.
Mainly
sunny skies on your Monday. A beautiful day is in store. A daytime high of 26 degrees, warmer than our average high of 23. A nice light breeze from the south up to 20 kilometers an hour in the afternoon, a low of 13. Tuesday, it heats up even more. A daytime high of 33. You'll feel a little bit uncomfortable if you are outside for a longer period of time. Sunny skies, though, and a low of 19.
Yeah, and I'll like pectin vegetables for 400 years or something.
Downtown Toronto right now, not so much 26.
Now, I don't know what's more politically incorrect. Am I supposed to not make that joke because I'm Dutch? Or am I more informed on the situation to make the joke because I'm Dutch? Like, I'm going to make the joke anyway. I'm just saying, ethically, I do wonder.
It's the sound of your taste buds going around the world. Japan's milk bread. The White Russian.
Japan got milk?
It's in New England. It's in Canada. It's at every birthday without needing an invitation.
You tell us all these fucking people are lactose intolerant. They do.
One-star chef and every 5-star chef. And the sound of the snacks on a season-long sci-fi streaming binge. So with
une oppression qui est moindre que ce que d'autres ont vécu parce que je fais quand même partie des privilégiés. Puis si je le fais pas, est-ce que je trahis? Est-ce que c'est parce que c'est ça? Est-ce qu'au contraire, je ne devrais pas justement utiliser mon privilège pour prendre la parole davantage? Moi, j'ai pas la réponse à cette question-là. Puis finalement, ça me plonge dans une espèce de silence très malaisant.
If I did, I would buy this one. Juste ajouter une chose que j'ai trouvé extraordinaire cette semaine, même s'il y a des commentaires négatifs, c'est l'ouverture d'esprit de gens qui étaient sincèrement aveugles, qui, premièrement,
led to global protests against systemic racism.
Oh, don't say systematic. That's like systematic elimination. Oh, don't say that. Say systemic. And then we can pretend it means the system is just doing it. Systematic implies we invented a system to systematically kill off the people. I was going to say that's it, and I didn't. It's just going to be a perfect opportunity. I was going to say it because I didn't think it mattered. Apparently it does. She just tripped the fuck out when she slipped. Systematically, systemically.
Conor McGregor apparently retiring for the third time in his career. UFC commentator Joe Rogan doesn't buy it.
I don't buy it for a second. I think Conor McGregor's trying to get to talk about him.
Parce que là, on vit en 2020, c'était pas exactement la même chose en 2018 avec les questions de slaves, mais j'ai l'impression qu'il y a eu une espèce de moment collectif où on a parlé de certains de ces enjeux-là. Et le mouvement Black Lives Matter existe quand même depuis 2013-2014. Il y a eu les événements de Baltimore, les événements de Ferguson, qui a d'ailleurs élu sa première mairesse afro-américaine cette semaine. Moi, ce qui me frustre, c'est que je suis content que de nouvelles personnes s'éveillent. Mais on dirait que le cours d'introduction, ça fait longtemps qu'il dure. J'avais envie qu'on arrive au niveau 102.
Excusez-moi, j'ai fait mon philo 101 au cégep 3 fois. OK?
C'est vrai qu'on dirait que chaque année, il faut que le Québec redécouvre que le racisme existe en son sein. Moi, ce qui me déconcerte aussi, c'est à quel point on a de la difficulté au Québec à aborder cette question-là de front. Pourquoi est-ce que les Québécois de souche canadienne-française
I know, nothing to do with race.
J'en fais partie, là, je suis à moitié canadienne-française, donc je m'inclus là-dedans, là, mais pourquoi est-ce que c'est si difficile d'avoir de la compassion?
C'est difficile! Oh, Norwalk virus!
Pourquoi est-ce que ça...
If you need repairs or replacements, Reliance Home Comfort answers.
Les Canadiens français ont vécu, ne se transforment pas en solidarité avec ceux qui continuent à vivre aujourd'hui. C'est comme si le Québec, pas une partie des Québécois, en tout cas, n'est pas capable de se voir autrement que comme la minorité opprimée qu'ils ont été. Alors que les Québécois ont fait un travail extraordinaire pour sortir de la misère, s'émanciper et prendre le contrôle de leur destinée politique et économique.
Les oppresseurs, mais les intimidateurs deviennent souvent eux-mêmes intimidés ou
That's Benson. He took 1 ounce. He ain't had a career since then. Wasn't even my weed. It was the principal. He thought it was. These motherfuckers are grabbing at me. Oh, okay, fine. It's mine. You still didn't think it's mine? Fuck you, buddy. It wasn't even mine. I fucked you over on principle, bro.
Il y a des gens qui écrivent ça, et quand ils écrivent ça, ils sont sincères, là. Ils sont convaincus que parce que leur voisin est noir, puis ils prennent une bière dans le cours, Voyez bien que c'est pas facile. Voyez bien que c'est pas facile. L'espèce de racisme ordinaire que bien des gens pratiquent sans le savoir est éclipsé par le fait qu'ils pensent qu'ils sont pas racistes parce qu'ils ont un chum noir ou un modèle noir. Et c'est là, je pense, qu'il faut creuser plus. Je pense qu'il faut dire, le fait de se rendre compte que pas le racisme, c'est pas parce que vous avez un ami noir, parce que vous avez un artiste noir, vous n'êtes pas raciste. Il faut qu'on puisse accepter.
Well, we're not listening to you no more, you ignorant fuck. Oh, it's not cause of racism against blacks. There's no blacks in Hong Kong, are there? It's not exactly what he said. It's real close. Just in case you don't speak French. It's real close. Oh, it's not about blacks. Oh, there's no blacks in Asia. You're right.
A U.S. Labor Department official testifying this past week, at least $26 billion will have been wasted, going mostly to fraudsters instead of the millions of Americans in need. Security experts say most of the fraud appears to be criminals using stolen data to make claims under someone else's identity. Yuni Han, ABC News.
ABC.
You're listening to Illinois Radio 680 News. So who's desperate for a haircut? Don't worry, you're not alone. So thankfully, our Jeff Verhoeven is getting some tips.
Oh, I got all this company. I got about 100,000 friends. Give me company.
Willett is a barber at Rod Gun and Barbers in the Junction.
That's the bullet removal.
For a while now, and I think I miss him more than my family at this point.
It is the bullet removal.
So this weekend, it's happening. Home haircut. Trek, help me out here. Buzzing the sides.
Are you using like a number one clipper attachment or a number two clipper attachment because you're like,
oh, that's not Shrek, is it?
It's going to be very difficult.
What's your homeboy? You go there to get your hair. What's your weirdo haircutting homeboy?
With scissors.
Comb the hair over your ears and then just trim the hair just around your ears.
Bro, if you can teach me how to do it over the radio, I don't trust you to do it for me because then that means you don't really know what you're doing either.
Down onto your forehead. And don't go far above.
You seen the size of my forehead?
And against all else fails, I'll just put a salad bowl on my head and cut around the edge. Good luck. I'm Jeff Verhoeven.
And keeping up with coronavirus,
if I ever kidnap somebody,
is saying they need to get their center back up
salad bowl in it. We're not going to put nothing around their nose and mouth because we're not going to risk it. We're going to put a salad bowl in their damn head. No blindfold, no, just a salad bowl.
People in Ontario aren't seeing.
A letter writing campaign.
You motherfuckers put a salad bowl on my head. Yeah, you can't see this, can you? Motherfucker. You can breathe though, right? Motherfucker.
Don't feel it's fair that evictions can remain frozen. Noting that a
fall off the chair and the floor floods, you're still not going to fucking drown.
In the order of 10% of renters never paid any rent. Significant cohort of renters paid partial or less than 50% of their rent, and that was usually due to some negotiations with the landlord.
Landlord BC has been encouraging its members to send letters to BC's housing minister. The form letter suggests the longer the state of emergency.
How much fentanyl you motherfuckers imported this year, and how much you dropped at the casino? Dropped? What do you mean? How much did we bring, or how much did we leave with?
Weather forecast you can bank on, because if we're off,
they had to come up with a 15% foreign ownership tax because the prices of real estate in BC are so fucking goddamn high from the fentanyl dealers.
680 News Time, 221. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. How are those roads looking out there this morning, Michael?
Well, Madison, quiet drive if you are out on the road.
Because they capitalize at every step, which is fucked up. Because they mark up the fentanyl from $6 to $100.
As I just mentioned,
go to the casino, drop $100 to get back $6, which makes no sense.
Eastbound 401, northbound Highway 25.
Take the check from the casino, buy a house.
Southbound Mississauga road ramp to the highway closed.
Then when they go to sell the shit, they don't take a cut on it, because they already fucking didn't make money twice. Mark up the price on that too, you dummies. You get yourselves cut. You know you're in a foreign country. This ain't Britain, right? We ain't gonna put up with that because we didn't do that to you.
Southbound Morningside ramp to the highway shut down. No access to Nielsen. Northbound Markham road ramps onto the highway are also shut down. No access to McCowan. Ramps to and from southbound Allen closed. Northbound Dufferin, no access onto the westbound 401. If you're traveling westbound on Stouffville Road, no access to the south 404. Westbound Finch, no access to the southbound 400. Northbound 427, transfer into the express at Dundas is closed. Eastbound westbound Finch ramps to the highway shut down, and the ramps to the 407 from the northbound 427, they are closed as well. Southbound 427, no access to the east 407. Eastbound, westbound Courtney Park Drive ramps to the southbound 410 are also shut down. All other major routes not mentioned are problem-free. Next report at 2:31 with your forecast. Here's Malia Sheikh.
A beautiful and mainly sunny Monday is in store. Daytime high of 26 degrees. warmer than our average high of 23.
FCC Regulation 15.12 says this device must accept all fucking interference whether you want it to or not, even if it causes undesired operation. That's the remote control clause. The backdoor clause.
J'avais un livre de non-fiction, donc
can't hear
s'appelle
you either.
La
You
vie
know what?
immortelle de Henrietta Lacks. Un livre, ça, c'est les meilleurs livres que j'ai lu de ma vie.
Can't hear either one. What am I supposed to do? Pink Island. This is jeez, how do you wake up in the morning thinking like that? It's a dreamt of you.
Got that murder on my state, just like you, elevated like the crime rate. It's full of hate. If you put it together, you better than the devil.
Did they catch the motherfucker? They must have caught the motherfucker. After I went offline, they came back with they're urging the driver of the SUV to turn themselves in, and 10 minutes later they said, or whatever minutes later they said they're urging the driver to lawyer up and turn themselves in, which means they know who the fuck it is. They must have caught the motherfucker. Once they catch them, if they blab about it on the radio, they're prejudicing your case.
And then you get clapped, and then you don't know what the fuck happened. You're just like flat. You don't even see past my identity. Which means the DERE, LICT, MC of the Avenue E. Fuck wanna be, stay hating on me because I'm your better, the fucking competitor. I say whatever you bitches can lay. The
I would have done that before I got the blue down. You see this shit? You I just did that. I did that. I fucked that. Glue it together at both ends.
This mind is something to love because it makes me true to lust. And when I do murder, you trust me, man. It's just because I want to crush.
It's just because I want to crush.
Schizophrenic, man, I'm panicking. Murdering kids, schizophrenic. Triggers and just schizophrenic.
Okay, I'll get you the next joint then.
Go shout to whoever made this beat. YG, you did your thing, man. What no disrespect. I ain't no nigga. I'ma ride for my motherfucking natives. Most likely I'ma die with my finger on the trigger. I've been grinding outside all day with my natives, and I ain't going in unless I'm with my native, 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 my motherfucking native, my 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 motherfucking native. Yeah, I'ma ride, I'ma die, and I'ma do it for my natives. We're whooping and we're hooping, and I do it for my natives. For my natives, I put on. For my natives, I shoot out. For my natives, for my natives. I do this for my natives. I do this for my people. I do this for my tribe. I do this for myself. I gotta stay alive. My natives know what's up, cause my natives throwing down. Got my natives all around, from my town to your town. And it ain't no problem, we do the damn thing. Closing with my BF, 59, 50 fitted, all red, everything, and you heard me right. I be swooping and we're hooping all damn night. I do this for my natives, I do this for my natives. You keep on hating, but I'm just demonstrating. I'm just demonstrating the ways I was shown. I was born and bred for the rest. That's why I call it home.
Unless shit, I really won't
If you
stop
don't want
moving.
problems, we emanators, yeah, we always gotta solve some. Cool that beat so we can even get about the day. I'ma ride, I'ma die, I'ma do it for my natives. I'ma ride for my motherfucking natives. Likely I'ma die with my finger on the trigger. I've been
You're gonna see that black
grinding
police car come rolling with the blue license plates. No idea what we always hold this spot. Like old bro, steel. What the fuck's that old bro in the field? Yeah, I'm kinda old.
My motherfucking native.
Bank of Portland chief economist Doug Porter. In the Business Center, I'm Richard Denman. And find out what to wear. The best weather reports in the city every day.
But they say the 15's $1 was $1.10.
The Ontario City Bicycle Teachers Federation knows that all Canadians have been affected by COVID-19.
In the 50s, $1, 50, 60, 19. What did they say? 1960, they set it at $92.5. And they let it float in 1970. Yeah, well, there wasn't enough of an economy for it to matter, or they wouldn't have been able to fix the exchange rate. Bahamas, and I think. I don't even know what Hong Kong's banking system is based on anymore, but opium. But Bahamas is based on the deposit of a fucking US dollar equals the creation of a Bahamas dollar or something.
Il pensait que ma peau noire allait me faire de l'ombre. Ma blonde est rose, c'est ma vieille blonde. Je consomme local et c'est la
vieille blonde.
Illégal, il y a de l'abaton.
Oh, it's one that one.
Je vis en surface, la gorge profonde. L'argent m'appelle, attends une seconde. Le fou la poule, faut que je réponde. Je te dis ciao, man. C'est qui m'est. Je prends du recul, j'ai un pas d'avance.
Maybe I'm a lumberjack. Did I introduce you in a lot of it? Oh.
Je fais pas le poids, moi je m'en balance. Je sais que je risque de me faire Rodney King. Tu sais, je dis vraiment au poulet ce que je pense. Des poulets dans l'aile, chicken wing. Je suis pas déçu, négro, j'ai pas d'attente. J'ai besoin de ressources, je rentre au bled.
Pizza, oh, you got me hungry,
motherfucker. Poison gratuit, mais je peux vendre merde. La vengeance, faut pas la manger tiède. T'es pour faire nourrir mes enfants sans fête. Mais c'est toujours fucking fête. Pas comme des pêches où je prends le prêt. Fais ton grand bout, tu t'en manges une lettre. Fais-toi pas guider.
Mange une lettre.
Tu prends le lait.
What?
Tu prends le lait. Plateau au plomb, tu
prends le lait. It's not lead.
Dirigeant du bled. Ils vous ont nommé en bateau. Des yachts avec l'argent de lait. Déterminés sont après éliminés à police. Déterminés à le prochain Minneapolis. Déterminés sont après éliminés à police. C'est pas terminé à le prochain Minneapolis. Ils t'ont dit reste dans la plante. Fais comme un con. Fais comme un con. Reste dans la plante. Yeah, yeah. Je suis dans US, faut que j'aille à la banque. Faut que j'aille à la banque. Faut que j'aille à la banque. Je suis dans US, faut que j'aille à la banque. Poulain, y'a qu'ils ont sorti les tentes. Ils ont sorti les tentes. Poulain, y'a qu'ils ont sorti les tentes. Là-bas, ouais, qu'ils ont sorti les tentes. Les sous-coups dans le ciel, c'est tout ce qui manque. C'est tout ce qui manque. Les sous-coups dans le ciel, c'est tout ce qui manque. Yeah, yeah, c'est tout ce qui manque.
La pièce Anne Frank de Obia le chef, vous pouvez aller la réécouter sur l'Instagram, qui s'appelle simplement Obia le chef. Il y a quelques semaines, on réfléchissait
au qu'on voulait
aborder la fin de la saison. On avait vraiment envie de parler de nudité d'abord, parce que ça met vraiment Mickey très très mal à l'aise. Donc ça, c'est
pas tout à fait. Traction going on. Un événement qui a tout déclenché.
Bon, quand même. Et ensuite, parce que l'actualité nous a donné une belle opportunité de déballer ce sujet-là. Notamment parce que la chanteuse américaine Billie Eilish a fait paraître la semaine dernière un court clip de spoken word qui s'appelle Not My Responsibility, ce n'est pas ma responsabilité, dont voici un court extrait.
Why'd you repeat yourself? Yeah, the Franglish, we hear it in English and then French. We're like, why'd you say it twice?
Okay, we can't.
I don't want to take that.
Closed, no access to McAllen. Ramps to and from southbound Allen Road closed. Northbound Dufferin ramp to the westbound 401. That is closed as well.
No access onto the southbound 400 from westbound Finch. No access to the south 404 from westbound Stouffville Road. If you're traveling northbound on the 427, transfer into the express at Dundas. That's shut down. Eastbound westbound Finch ramps to the north 427.
This side, you see up about here, like reading, and then this side takes over, right?
No
So
access to the
perfect.
eastbound 407.
I want to see my nostril where the hair is telling me there's a booger, but there is no hair.
Shut down. All of those ramps and transfers closed for overnight construction. Next report is at 2:41.
You suffer from mental illness? Yeah, I got phantom boogers on phantom hairs.
Mainly sunny skies on your Monday. A UV index of 9, which is very high, so make sure you do protect your skin, and a low of 13. Your high for today, 26 degrees.
Downtown Toronto right now, we're sitting at 14 degrees, a clear sky.
Well, not 13 20s, well, not 15 20s, which is just 14.
680 is time, 2:33. History is being made as Minneapolis City Council has now voted to disband the local police department. It's just 2 weeks after George Floyd, a black man, died in Minneapolis.
Well, it turns out even the white people feel safer with a whole bunch of wild running mulatto, redskin Negroes go crazy, and the communist white kids, and the chins and goons, then the fucking, no, that's not how they pronounce it, is it? Than they do with the fucking police.
Voted to dismantle the local police department, making it a veto-proof majority. Council President Lisa Bender says the plan is to end our city's toxic relationship with the Minneapolis Police Department. This follows the death of George Floyd in police custody, which has led to global protests against systemic racism and police violence. On Friday, the City Council voted to ban chokehold and neck restraints for police officers. The council says they intend to invest in a community-led public safety program. I'm James Mackin.
It's the 13th day of protest.
Vito, they said that it's proof of you. What do you mean someone's got proof of me? Antonio.
City's Michelle Mackey has the details, along with a big win for protesters in New York, calling for police defunding.
New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago. 3 major U.S. cities once the scene of violent protests and looting, now lifting their
violent protests.
CNN's Bill Weir is in Brooklyn. Demonstrators' calls for defunding police have been answered.
If you don't know, we'll just go rob all the police. Hey, Mr. Officer, empty your fucking pockets. Hey, you think I'm fucking joking? I'm gonna go up to your bank account and steal your house. I'll take your kids' trust fund and everything. I ain't playing, dog. No, I wouldn't take your kids' trust fund. I'll take your money.
Officer Derek Chauvin is set to make his first appearance in a Minnesota courtroom Monday afternoon.
Actually, I probably would take your kids' money because I know how the fucking system works here. They won't end up getting it. Somebody else. I'll steal it and just give it to them. There you go, kid. That's yours. You know that's yours? No, I'm not giving it to you. That was yours already.
I'm Michelle Mackey.
That's the other people I see, but I'm giving you. No, you're not giving a shit, you liar.
Will be laid to rest this week in a memorial in his hometown of Houston, Texas. There will be a 6-hour viewing today, and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden intends to attend. The funeral and burial is set to take place on Tuesday. Earlier Sunday, another memorial was held in North Carolina. Floyd will be laid to rest next to his mother. A statue has been torn down and thrown into the harbor during a second day of anti-racism protests across the UK.
They have a harbor? I thought they had a fucking ocean.
Protesters used ropes to pull down the statue of Edward Colston, a 17th century slave trader who has been a source of controversy in the city for many years. It comes after largely peaceful demonstrations in London ended in some clashes with police. Thousands of protesters have massed for the second day outside the U.S. Embassy in London, and at least 12 people have been arrested throughout the city.
So you guys think you're going to get that statue of Cornwallis back up and us? Shut the fuck up. Watch your fucking mouth.
It's been another day of rallies across the GTA in Mississauga. Thousands gathered in Celebration Square to speak out against racism and police brutality.
See one of these rolling with a golden bulldog. You know what it means? You know what it means?
On his strategy for change.
In solidarity with Black Lives Matter, chants rang out, thousands gathered to call for an end to anti-black racism. The peaceful protest happened near Celebration Square. I spoke with NDP MPP
it's not gold-plated aftermarket. It's from the factory.
Who was at the protest, and he says people are calling for sweeping changes.
We're calling for an end.
You're talking about guns and gasoline. I'm talking about a fucking $250,000 truck that'll tear a house down in 10 seconds and haul the whole thing away.
Justice for Regis Paczynski-Paquette and her family. And,
damage a high-rise to where it can be fixed. Yeah,
as well as de-escalation work in police services. So there's a whole stream of things that we're fighting for.
Yard says these issues are not just American issues, but Canadian as well. He adds that we all need to speak out if we hope to inspire meaningful change. I'm Sahir Hashimi.
South of the border, a new initiative is calling for businesses to dedicate at least 15% of their shelf space to Black-owned businesses, as Black people make up 15%.
If you have to write it down like that, then you...
The initiative started from an online petition launched last week after massive demonstrations following the death of George Floyd. The pledge was created by Aurora James, the founder of Brother Bellies, a Brooklyn-based sustainable fashion brand. Several businesses released statements saying they stand with the Black Lives Matter movement. 680 News Time, 2:37. The pandemic and crosstown LRT construction combined have made doing business on Eglinton West difficult, but help is on the way for the neighborhood known as Little Jamaica. The area is known to the highest concentration of Black and Caribbean
Eglinton West. Yeah, I'd never heard it called Little Jamaica.
Businesses and professional association in
partnership
with the city's economic development department. They're leading a community development initiative to help businesses survive and grow after the pandemic is over.
Let's say Oakland. Everybody around the world is Oakland. Vaughn Road. Oh, Vaughn Road. Okay, Vaughn Road then. I'm from Vaughn Road.
The Trump administration is contesting one of the key points of the protest.
Yeah, I am from
brutality is a result of systemic racism.
The racist police was one of the chants of the protesters this weekend. The outrage that Americans are feeling today about the death of George Floyd is very real, it's very legitimate. But appearing on ABC's This Week, Acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf challenged...
Where's Colin Powell?
I think that we have a systemic racism problem.
He lies. I put it in the title for a reason.
There's always the ghost in the room.
Also on ABC's This Week, Congresswoman Val Demings.
We have been fighting systemic racism in this country for 400 years.
A former police chief, Demings says the nation needs to
hold police accountable,
examine training standards and use of force policies, and who exactly is being hired in law enforcement.
We go from 1508 up here. What was the first slave ship?
Graffiti alley into new murals and show solidarity with anti-racism movements. Melissa Conway from City News has more. Powerful images of prominent Black figures.
The numbers don't add up. They don't matter what it says in the books. It'll be off by a couple, no matter what they say. The first and the last are not. Way more than the level.
The city black. Over 40
the Dutch kept records. Eh?
In support of Black Lives Matter.
I don't know what that says about people, but lack of a guilty conscience. You can search the slave ship records in the Netherlands. Everywhere else you can.
The mural started with a painting of a Black Panther with the words "All power to the people" in honor of the Black Panther Party, the revolutionary organization known as being a vanguard to the civil rights movement.
The fuck's a vanguard? Why y'all niggas speaking French?
Breaking news when it happens.
680 News. Now, the 680 News gas price update and process. The price did not change at midnight. It's holding at $1.09 a liter at most GTA stations. Coming up in 30 seconds, your traffic and weather reports together. 680 News Time, 2:40. Your home is your castle, your refuge, your safe place.
We were listening to that tonight, right?
Disappear.
And we're good at it.
Your home will feel bigger and cleaner, and you'll feel happier. We promise.
Doug, you didn't have to tell me that. Why you gotta keep playing shit? I know it's fucking content match. Yeah, I can tell the difference. I don't know what this is. All the classical shit you know, because it's 400 years of the copyright. I'm gonna say you don't know. No, I don't. So if anyone's curious, you have to be a medical student. That sound I just made, that's the that's the fluid from the bronchitis. Because my lungs are always producing fluid because of exposure to cyanide, arsenic, natural gas, and that might be burning PCBs. My lungs are fucked from this city. Oh, it's because you do drugs. No, it's because of the city I grew up in. My lungs have been bad for a long time. What up, bro? Keystone, eh? Has it got anything to do with the XL? That's the next thing, actually.
A little bit uncomfortable.
Keystone XL, that's the
period of time. Keep hydrated.
Oh, let's see. Colin Powell says Trump is a liar. Oh, no, said it. He lies. He lies about things. Just like you would say about your buddy. I don't like it because he lies. What do you mean? He lies about shit.
Similar conditions at Pearson Airport and 11 degrees.
Oh, and all the curfews.
Provincial police west of Barrie say an 11-year-old boy has died after he was hit by a pickup truck. They said the incident happened around 8:30 in the evening Thursday night in Angus. The boy was taken by helicopter to a Toronto area hospital where he was pronounced dead earlier yesterday morning. Investigators say they understand the community will be impacted by the event, by the incident, and encourage people to reach out for support.
Oh,
680 News Time, 2:43.
With TD Insurance, there are so many ways to save, we can't fit them all in this ad. But this guy can try.
They must have caught the motherfucker they were looking for the hit and run. Or they're gonna back off on the media because they're looking online and they're not sure what the fuck they're doing.
Ways to save on home and car insurance. The TD
Well, I don't think it's that because the last couple times this happened, they didn't let up. But the one time, it took them a few weeks to catch they caught all three people in the car. They got all three people in the car, but it took like 2 months to get them all.
Invites you to make this summer the summer
They
of
did a hit and
Volvo.
run.
Great news. Volvo at Toronto is waiving the first 3 payments when you lease select
12:30
in-stock
in the
2020
morning
models,
yesterday.
including the XC90. The perfect blend of beauty, performance, and technology. Or save an additional $1,000 when you finance or pay
that the
cash.
whole
And remember,
fucking city
Volvo
would
of
go
Toronto
ape
is here
shit.
for you with exceptional
like
service,
that.
even in difficult times. Visit
If
Volvo
they
of
didn't
Toronto
do something, or
downtown.
if they appeared like they weren't doing enough.
VolvoofToronto.com.
This is all news radio.
It's in the last video. I think my impression is that they are not letting off on this one. It's a 17-year-old girl, eh? If it was like a 42-year-old white man,
2 weeks since the
they
death of
might.
George Floyd in Minneapolis, the city
Or
council has
black,
voted to
depending what
disband
day.
that
Today I'm
local
thinking
police
white because of the
department and
protest.
build a new system of public safety. 9 out of 12 councilors voted at a rally on Sunday. A 6-hour viewing for Floyd scheduled to take place today in Houston. Former U.S. Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden is expected to meet with Floyd's family at the viewing. Floyd will be laid to rest next to his mother in Pearland tomorrow. And coming up after sports,
it's officially out of control. So we have some tips on how to do an at-home haircut this weekend.
Oh, Jesus.
680 News Time, 2:45.
Well, then now what?
Now 680 Sports, 590 The Fan, Carl Teske.
NASCAR and F1 continue to push forward with more from Atlanta. Here's Eric Thomas.
NASCAR Cup at their fastest track, Atlanta, Georgia. Kevin Harvick takes that. That's his second win since the season refire around COVID-19. Cup goes again midweek Wednesday night at Martinsville. IndyCar finally got their season off and operating at the Texas Motor Speedway Saturday night. It was a Scott Dixon runaway.
Honda Indy, Texas. I'll bring you guys pretty disappointed if you didn't go. I'd go, but I feel half-assed about it too.
Loose race car, he wound up 18th.
Really? In Texas? Can't we do this in Toronto? Seriously, it feels disrespectful, bro.
Amanda Nunes continued her dominance at UFC. She successfully defended her featherweight title.
Yeah, but if there were no wardrobe malfunctions, I'm not really interested.
But Conor McGregor took to Twitter right after the fight's conclusion and announced his retirement as the 3rd time in 4 years.
That's what's bothering me. Okay, I was trying to.
UFC.
2 chicks are fighting. They're done fighting. He goes, "Oh, I'm retiring." It wasn't about you. Did he have a fight today?
The lone victory was secured by Wolfsburg, who beat Werder Bremen 1-0. Sports at 15 and 45.
There's 2 hot chicks fighting. Everybody's watching. Hey, everybody, I'd like to talk about me for a minute. I'm retiring again. No, again. Shut up. Looking at something stupid.
Matters. So if our weather forecast is off by more than 3 degrees, you could win cash. Details at 680news.com.
I got it.
Home has never been more important, and now you're relying on home appliances more than ever. That's why, just like you, Appliance Canada is
Well, you're not getting Google
They've
Play
adjusted their
because it's fucking
services, so all their
disabled.
expertise and products are still available online.
2 days and 8 hours left. I don't believe you.
Now, you need your appliances to be dependable, and the professionals supplying them even more so. That's why Appliance
The appliances we sold in service, they're still in fucking service.
Feeling like home. With free delivery in the GTA, get started at Appliance
Like there's stickers on the back of some of them with our address and shit. There's we used to put a spot of wood. When we first started marking them, my grandmother got the idea to put just one spot of white spray paint on the back of the fridge. You never noticed that unless you put it there. We started to see the same fridges coming back over and over. We never kept records before. Nobody did. Yeah, I need a network connection. Okay. Yeah, internet. That's what I'm trying to do, phone.
Together, we can be part of positive change for pollinators. Learn more at helpthepollinators.ca.
On Sunday, U.S. Senator Mitt Romney marched in a protest in Washington against police mistreatment of minorities, making him the first known Republican senator.
Did he go, rah, or
Romney
what?
told the Washington Post why he was marching.
Violence and brutality, and to make sure that people understand that Black Lives Matter.
Romney, who was working with a Christian group, told NBC News that he needed to be there. You're listening to 680 News at 2:48. Authorities say in
What's it like to be going, oh, I have this guilt? It's like,
law enforcement officers were
it
wounded.
is. You're calling the U.S. Candidates all losing its
Who
mind.
was a member of the U.S. military.
The man who the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Department claims
415 new
deputies killing a
coronavirus
sergeant
cases.
is
Toronto
Stephen
adds
Carrillo, an
362.
active duty Air Force sergeant
Hold on.
assigned the 60th Security Forces Squadron out of
So
Travis
for all of
Air
Ontario,
Force
there were
Base.
53
He arrived at
and
Travis
362
in June of
here.
2018. His unit provides security to aircraft transiting high terrorist areas. Now, police want to know if he was also involved in the fatal shooting of a federal officer in Oakland last month. Alex Stone, EBC News.
I told you, is it, oh, the niggers are this, the niggers are that. No, it's you white people killing each other, eh? Blame it on the niggers, who cares? Yeah, I would probably do the same thing in your position, but we know what you're doing.
680's Curtis Doring has the details about a big global study which took a look at
Troops
these
could be
very
called
questions,
to
and
test.
the results might surprise you.
Psychologists have noticed something pretty consistent about human behavior. People work hard to protect their self-image. And there's compelling evidence for this published in the journal Science. Researchers planted over 17,000 wallets in 355 cities around the world. Each contained the contact information for a man listed as a freelance software engineer, along with a key in the grocery list. And some of them contained the equivalent of about $13 US in local currency. A research assistant would take the wallet, walk into a public building, and say to the receptionist,
"Hi, I found this on the street around the corner. Somebody must have lost it. I'm in a hurry and have to go. Can you please take care of it?"
in the vast majority of cases, more people emailed to return wallets containing cash than those without. When the researchers tried the experiment again, with over $90 in the wallets this time, the results were even more pronounced. On average, 72% tried to return those big money wallets. Now, altruism plays a role in this, sure, but few people like to see themselves as thieves, and that weighs against the material benefits
No,
of
I find lots of money and things. I don't find records to bring it back to you.
And
I
one
find it,
thing
I
is
spend
for
it.
sure, we all miss our
Oh,
hairstylists
rainbow
during this
fucking
COVID-19
680 News
pandemic.
logo,
Our Jennifer
seriously?
Woman spoke with one to see how they're doing and to get some tips if we get really desperate.
Yeah, Amanda Rainoni, or Hair by Amanda R on Instagram, works at Halo Hair Studio in Maple. Her specialty, balayage.
Yeah, the town is fucking called Maple.
Hours and watch your wife get her hair done. But she tells me people are getting desperate.
I do get the odd message of them kind of like bribing me to pay 3 times as much just to come over to their house and quickly do a
So
root
3 times
touch-up.
as much
But
is what
I
you're
think
asking, right?
everybody's
That's what she just
general
said. She didn't say that, but that's what she...
I wish we could, but we just can't.
Thank you, 680, for pushing the underground market without admitting
Amanda,
it.
I look like Tom Hanks in Castaway. How do we cut our own hair?
Well,
Oh, they got a fucking picture! They got a picture!
All right, fair.
Okay, here's the problem, guys. It's not a brand. It's not an old. It's not a Yukon Escalade. It's not one of those.
Time for traffic and
It
weather
said
together on
possibly
the web.
GMC.
Here's
Fuck the
Michael
brand
Ranger.
name. You have to
Also
go by the
looking
shape
at
of
a
the
quiet
fucking
traffic
body.
route on the major routes. We've just got a lot of
Even the
construction along the
envoy
way,
or
which means
something.
there's some ramps that are shut down. Most of them on the 401.
Facebook is
On the
working.
eastbound side of the highway, no access onto the highway from northbound Highway 25.
Well, you think you got away on, boy? I was asleep, dumb motherfucker. Oh, yeah, they're looking for a GMC. Did you know they had a picture of dumb fuckers right there?
At the 404, that is also closed, and the southbound 412 ramp to the eastbound 401, that remains shut down. Other side of the highway, no access onto the west 401 from southbound Morningside ramps to Nielsen closed, northbound Nielsen, northbound Markham Road ramps to the highway. They are also closed, no access to McAllen from the west 401, ramps to and from southbound Allen shut down, northbound Dufferin ramp to the west 401, that is closed as well. Southbound 400.
People always come to me with their ideas. We should do this, we should do that. And I'm always, part of the reason they come to me, I mean, like, they trust them, their friend, whatever. Part of the reason is because I'm always saying, no, this will happen, that happen. Not, oh, they'll just randomly catch us. There's another car there, do you see it? Is that another car? It is. Oh, my. Oh, my. You have multiple fucking witnesses, dumbass.
Southbound 410 closed. All of those ramps and
I know some of us in back are Escalade. What, maybe a big-time drug dealer, maybe a diplomat. No, it wasn't an Escalade. It wasn't GMC, nothing. It was like a goddamn Fiat or a Porsche. It was like a Cayenne or a PT Cruiser or I'm gonna get strong and work on it.
A UV index of 9, which is very high, though, so make sure
That's
you
what the FBI
protect your
does.
skin. A low 13.
Hey, who got sent in to figure out who killed them college students way back in the day in the South and escort the fucking girl to the desegregated school? What the feds say? Ah, you can smoke weed.
Your high for today, 26 degrees.
They basically said, don't admit it, but yeah, you can smoke it. That's basically what they said. What the Canadian Forces says. If you admit that you smoke weed or do drugs, you will be advised, you will be.
The latest on the city
I've read
council
both
in
books.
Minneapolis
The
voted
guy
to
that's
disband the
interviewing
local
you is
police
instructed
department
to counsel
in the
you
wake
out
of the
of
death
applying.
George
They
Floyd
can't deny
2
you.
weeks
They'll
ago at the hands of a police
talk you out of
officer.
applying.
Our James Malcolm will have the latest
You just
at
keep
the
saying,
top
no,
of
I
the
don't do
hour.
drugs.
680 News Time, 2:53.
Working from home? On the couch? With kids? Yep, this is
It don't matter now. They have to officially say, yeah, you can smoke weed all you want. You have to show up. There's a rule called universality of service. You can stoned out your ass the day before. You show up to work, ready to work. It don't matter.
Save money, save time, and increase the value of your home.
You can self-report months. Let's get done. I'm stoned to look up that picture, but I'm going to search Google Images for that picture. Search, find this today. I can do that right now.
It's a massive weather system we're watching, spanning from Texas to the Maritimes.
Yes, you can. There's a way to do it. Let's see how the fuck do I do this?
Slow approaching Texas to south of Rutherford, a bit of snow coming down through there. This moisture-laden Texas flow has triggered widespread rainfall.
I can set it as my wallpaper too, but I don't know if it's going to help.
We're here.
There's a chemical license plate, I think.
It won't be your average library visit, but this week you can curl up on the couch with a book from the Toronto Public Library. It's introducing
whatever the fuck you did to cause the collision in the first place may or may not be your fault. You know what? That's right. The leaving part, you are a dumbass.
Explains how it works.
Dumbass, and you're evil.
Online
Because when you decided to run, you thought of what intersection you were at when you decided to run.
They want to pick up these books, and then once the holes are available, they can schedule a pickup time.
It's my fucking city, you dumbass. North York to New York, from New York
and Tuesday is the earliest you can pick up. Coming up in 60 seconds, your 680 News Business Report.
Yeah, and as for the color, it could be black or dark blue. It's not gray or silver. It's either black or really dark blue. But not, I don't believe that's purple.
That means wearing a non-medical mask or face covering in places like
You don't know
grocery
about
stores and
pigments and
public transit.
colors.
Washing our hands often.
You're talking bullshit to me about my friends, and I had bad eyes, so I was always, not in terms of color, but I was always studying how eyes work and what color means. Most of these dummies talking about color don't give a fuck all about the math on color.
When you use a WarAmps key tag, you protect your keys. If you lose your keys, the finder can call the WarAmps or drop them in any mailbox.
I want to crack jokes every time I hear this. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of wheelchair kids out there watching my shit.
Today at waramps.ca.
Everybody send you the keys back, melt them down, and make a goddamn wheelchair. Don't fucking send them back to you. You're gonna spend what's courier cost? 10, 20 bucks? Let's just round it up to 20 bucks. Well, how the fuck are you making money sending me back my dumb ass, my keys?
Harder than men. Enter talent. a company that works with professional women and inclusive businesses to make work better for everyone. Jennifer Hargraves is the founder and CEO.
A disproportionate share of the job losses, I think it was over 50%, were shown with women, though declines in April have seen men catch up and that gap start to narrow. So men and women search for jobs and they network very differently. There's also a huge amount of stress and anxiety happening in the world right now, and I would say that that's also disproportionately affecting women, especially as we shelter in place.
So under these